Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for being here on this cloudy and rainy Saturday morning here, just north of San Antonio. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's do our pleasantries and get right into it. So, Siren is here as always. Siren, thank you so much for being a mod and for supporting both sides of the stream. I definitely appreciate you. Red Silver, good morning. How are you doing, good sir? Hope you're doing well. Yankee Doodle Stacker, hope you're doing well. Hope your coin comes or your medal comes in with a privy mark on it. I know you guys should be getting that here shortly. Make sure you're doing a video on that. I'd love to see that opening. Paula Bloom is in the house. Rockzilla and Eric Byer in the house. Thank you guys for being channel members. Rockzilla, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Jackalope Herdmaster is here this morning. Good morning. Hi, Jeff Davis. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming in. And as always, you guys know this. I have my fabulous friends here. Paula and Eric are in the house. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all doing?
Wonderful. And you?
Peachy Keen, Jelly Bean.
Good. Oh, just before going live, we were talking football. The high school game we were at last night was quite the opposite of Paula. Paula, I'll let you tell your story, but we won 45-0.
Nice.
And it was horrible. I felt so bad for the other team. We came out and they were all like they had like 15 people total on their team.
Oh, jeez.
They were playing offense, defense, and we were just beating them ragged. They put our third string in, and our third string was just cleaning them up because we could replace and refresh. We got like 45 people on the team, and they were just hammered. So the coach started running plays where they would try to do like almost like trick plays, like a scrimmage type thing, and even those were succeeding. So after the game, the coach was like, "Okay, folks, so this was a really terrible practice. Please don't take this for anything. You guys didn't play that well. They weren't a very good team." So. And they tried really, really hard. They had some really good plays, but 9 interceptions on the day. It was just a bad game. Well, what about your game, Paula?
Oh, just I mean, long story short, we just gave the game away. We were way up at halftime, and then the kids came back, and in second half they just choked. So it was just terrible. It was terrible. I was so disappointed. We were playing one of the top teams in the state, and they're just terrible. But our Oregon Ducks won. They killed it. So
yeah,
I should have just stayed home. I should have just stayed home, and I would have been nice and warm and cozy in my own house and watched the Ducks game. Instead, I was freezing my toes off. And
I was about to ask. It was chilly yesterday, wasn't it?
It was cold, yeah. But the first half was great. I should have left.
Hey, James Schultz, Wendy, good morning. Hope you two are well.
Cold here yesterday.
Yeah,
cold is relative in Florida. What are you talking about?
It got down to like 57.
Yeah, we had.
That's pretty cold for Florida.
Yeah, we had 50 degrees when I woke up yesterday morning. It was so nice to go out and walk the dogs and have the dogs have a little pip in their step because it's a little chilly. It was really nice.
It's 41 right now, which is yesterday it was like 34 at this time in the morning.
But yeah, we're 71. We're getting back to normal here.
Yeah,
I think by midday we were back up into the 80s. I think we were 83, 85, somewhere in that area. What's up, Mark? How are you doing, good sir? Hope you were well. Shift Kicker says it's 57 there. Hope you guys are having a great morning. So how's
when I gotta,
go ahead.
When I got to put socks on, it's not a good morning.
I love socks. I like furry socks, but I'd rather be wearing my flip-flops.
If
Me
I could
too.
go without shoes, I would be fine.
Yeah.
I prefer not having shoes on. Like yesterday, we had the seniors walk, where they walk the seniors down the football field, and they talk about the things they're doing and what college they're going to go
Oh, I
to.
thought it was like something you did for like the nursing homes around or something. That's why it's the senior walk. They go walk the seniors. Come
No,
on, come on,
no,
come on.
You can do it.
You can do it.
no. Although, if the high school kids probably thought that's what that was because of all the parents that were there, but no, they walk down and they tell them about their hobbies and stuff like that.
yeah.
So they just acknowledge the seniors, and so we were doing that last night, and I, of course, wearing jeans and a nice shirt, flip flops.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing wrong with that,
We had teacher.
except for the jeans.
Yeah, ours was teacher appreciation night last night, and the senior football players walked their teachers down. Um, so to the half or to the midfield. So yeah, that was, and everybody was wearing pink
It was
because it was
pink day.
pink. It was pink. It was pink day. It was kicking cancer's butt night or whatever. So,
Oh, cool.
right.
Gotcha. Hey,
yeah.
Yankee Doodle Stacker, are there any videos of anyone getting a privy besides a dealer?
I haven't seen any.
I haven't seen anybody, but I have had a couple people reach out to me. There was one thing regarding the privy mark that I was concerned or questioning. I wasn't quite sure if it happened or not. And that was the certificate. So when I opened mine, it was like, oh, you know what? I never thought about that. Are they going to be showing the privy mark on the certificate? And the answer is yes. So if you look at go ahead.
So only 230 of those privy marks came with a signed COA. So you mean some of the ones with the privy that have the COA with that? So that doesn't that I guess.
No, let me explain.
What we were yeah. So I guess what we were talking about doesn't.
Yeah. So let me
anyway.
explain.
Yeah.
So there's 3 different certificates. Okay. Well, technically there's going to be 2, but there's a special 230.
Right.
So you have your certificate of authenticity. Okay.
Easy.
That comes through. On this is this photo right here. And if you look at this one, you can see that my coin, there was no privy mark. But if you get a coin with the privy mark will show up on this particular image.
On the COA.
Okay. This is on the COA. What I don't know, and we won't see one until somebody actually takes photos of it and it's released or does a video or whatever. 19 signed privy is 20,000 on eBay.
They're asking.
Yeah. So do
Yeah,
they show the signed privy? Because I don't know what that looks like. Or the signed certificate. Because if they do, I'll have to go look at that and see. Because I haven't.
Well, just because they got the privy doesn't mean they got a signed cert.
No, but they're saying that somebody who has a signed number 19 signed cert is
Oh.
already on sale. So I'll pull that up and see if we can find that real quick.
Did you end up getting yours, Paula?
I haven't. Mine's.
Oh, you did order one though. 'Cause I know you were wondering.
Oh yeah, and easy peasy. Yeah, and in fact, they didn't sell out until the next day when they lifted the household limit.
That, and somebody said that they even come back on the following morning or something and had a few left.
Yeah, they usually do around 7:30 Eastern. They'll open it back up. But yeah, the first day they didn't sell out. Second day they as soon as it went back up, they had lifted the household limit and it sold out quickly. Because the flippers hoping to get a chance at that privy, they just bought them all up, and
so here's here's one that shows the actual certificate signed.
Okay.
You'll see that it's 25 of 230.
Okay. So they do number them differently too. Okay, good.
Yeah, so you'll have that, and this is something that you don't see on the other ones.
But where is there a picture of the inside of the privy or inside of the COA? No.
I don't think that they show that on this one. They just show there's the
Yeah,
privy mark.
that's the coin itself.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then there's the signed Ventress Gibson.
Okay.
Yeah, and just because they're asking for it doesn't mean that they're going to get that price. We'll see what that price realizes later on. And that's another thing about the language of these. Realized is the thing that you're looking for when you're talking about prices.
Well, so that went up on Friday, and it still has no bids at $5,000.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people. I'm trying to see if I can find one that shows.
We won't really know what the market's doing until we start to see more sold listings.
Yeah. But right now, I'm only seeing 2 of them.
I mean, and a lot of people haven't even received theirs yet. So, unless you got like 2 day shipping or whatever.
I was amazed how fast Frostbyte got his. He had it the next day.
Well, the
Somebody
distribution.
said they were shipping out of Dallas anyways.
Yeah, Irving, Texas. Yeah. And it's only 5 hours north, so it's a
And he
trip.
paid for 2 day.
Yeah, but
I'm cheap.
It's a quick.
I'm cheap. I get the free shipping.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a quick turn for me though because they're so close.
Yeah. And you know, they also sold those at the Mint gift shop, so people close to the Mint gift shop could have gone in and picked them up.
Wonder how many they had. There was something that came out during the fun show last year, and everybody went there trying to get one, and it turned out they only brought 5 of them.
Oh
All
my
these people were waiting in this huge line for something.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even remember what it was. Yeah, I would have been pissed.
Well, I know that they were giving away a chance to win something last year.
Yeah, yeah. This was. I don't know if it was a medal or a coin. Maybe it was something to do with the Morgans have come out then, or the Morgans or Peace Dollars or whatever. I'm not sure what it was, but people were like biting at the bit to get it, whatever it was.
Yeah,
It wasn't proof sets and mint sets and stuff like that because they bring thousands of those there.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember what you're talking about. And they've done that before, but
So
Every
I will
year
say,
they do something that releases at the fun
yeah,
show.
so remember we had the Patriotic Mint had those listings.
it had
So
the one with the privy. Yeah,
not anymore.
right.
So they have one sell, nothing else, $349 MS70 from Annex, which was the Annex listing that disappeared. Remember we were
Well,
talking about.
Patriotic Mint had the one left. It was the one that the Privy Mark one that was the only one we could find.
Yep.
And they were auctioning it, and it was up to like $1,500 at auction when the last time I checked.
Yep. And when you go back and you look at their sold listings, it's not there.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I don't know how they worked that out. Maybe they got in trouble because under their disclaimer, it's under the Mint's bulk buying program thing. It says that they are not allowed to sell those until the same day that they're released to the public.
Yeah.
Even though they get them ahead of time, they're not allowed to sell them. So.
Yeah, but they only have the one item, and it is an MS70 sold for $350. Oh no, hold on. It's listed for $350. It's not even sold.
With the privy?
Nope.
Oh.
Annex MS70, and that's all they have. There's no privy marks on their site at all. So
will this follow the track of the rest of the metals and go down in value in about a year?
Well, that's pretty high for compared
That's
to what
yeah.
other people are selling them for. That's
yeah,
pretty high.
yeah, and it's annex slabbed. But again, when we were talking about the items from eBay, remember when we were going through, and this was the thing that was kind of weird, kind of shady type thing, was that when I had pulled those up last week, we could find Annex, we could find CAC, we could find PCGS, we could find NGC. There were tons and tons and tons of eBay listings. Within 5 hours, almost no listings were left. They were gone. They were pulled down. You couldn't find the photos anymore. I was able to screenshot one, and the one that I was able to screenshot in a couple hours after I screenshotted it reverted to the one that was the no privy. So
Right.
all of them on eBay. So somebody reached out and chewed some butt, I'm sure, because all of those were gone, right? Like people were jumping the gun, and so it makes me wonder if there's going to be some backlash within that program for early posting. But yeah, the other one that I want to check, I can't remember the name of the other one. So
It is amazing the difference in feelings between the dealers and the hobbyists, the collectors. Though, if you've looked, there's been a couple dealers post videos that how should people feel about that, and they're like totally, it should be the way they do it because we have a business to run. And I understand their feelings; it's their business. But yeah, it's funny watching these videos. You just go, oh Lord.
well, but it
Yeah, but
tells you
there's
that
lots
they're
of
not
dealers out
concerned.
there.
Yeah.
There's lots of dealers out there that are not involved in the bulk buying programs. So they're not they don't have a business to run, like, you know
Yep.
what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So again, this is just the big boys thinking they're special because they do big buys. And again, Eric, you and I talked about Walmart, right?
Yep.
Walmart is one of these things, and I think I had the conversation with Chuck on this exact same thing too. Walmart comes into your store and says, "I want this here for this price," and you take it, right? You take it because they're going to push a ton of product through their store, and if you lose that, you lose that market share within that store. So
Or they want a non-compete item.
well,
They want to sell an item, and a lot of they get away with that with size, like a bulk bag of chips, like a super bag or something like that. I'm just using the bag of chips as
but it happens with the soda industry all the time. I used to work for Coca-Cola,
absolutely.
and so they would come in and they say, "Hey, we're running this ad. This is what we're going to pay you," and it'd be like, "Okay, right? Like this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to support it." Because if we lose, as working with Pepsi, if they were to lose that market share, that could be up to 5 or 6%. Now people think, well, 5 or 6% doesn't sound like a lot, but 5% of market share is massive. We're talking billions of dollars, and so um, there. I understand why they do the bulk program. Like I understand why the Mint allows these big companies to get this done, get it out, be able to do that. But when there's a huge public interest in this, it doesn't do the collector justice. It doesn't. It's not. It's not about the collector. And this is what's frustrating a lot of people. This is what frustrated me, and that is that they didn't care about the collector. Well, we know the Mint doesn't. I watched the. Have you? Did you guys watch the cat
I
stuff?
watched. It was 3 days long,
Yeah.
so I watched a couple hours of it here and there about quarter designs, and it was the same old, same old. Does anybody have
Yeah.
any security? The main thing they go through on that is security objections.
Well,
Um,
the one that I was listening to, and I kind of just squirreled myself. But the one that I was listening to, they were like, "Well, why do we like this?" So I actually watched the voting for the various
the
quotes and
dime.
things
Did
like
you
that,
watch the
right?
voting for the dime?
And
The mint
so,
director was kind of put out because they voted against her.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she says, I really want this one, and I hope everybody backs me, and they didn't.
Nope. Nope. Um, she had like 7 of the 20 some odd votes that are available. Yeah. Um, but again, it's one of those things where it's like,
She should not even have a vote in the CCAC meetings. She should not even be involved in that. That is the Citizen Coinage Committee.
I think there's only one citizen that's voting. Everybody else is like, well, I guess they're all citizens.
Yeah, but she should not even have a vote in that.
Most of them are
There's a couple experts,
heads.
like a
They're like,
couple.
so
Yeah,
they're heads of their agencies.
yeah. But she should not have anything to do with that. She really shouldn't. She shouldn't be involved in that whatsoever. Other than like maybe making like the final decision, like because that's her job. But when it comes to those meetings and stuff like that, I mean, because she can override everything.
There was one fella that was very vocal about designs.
He's probably the engraver. They have.
I think he was, because he kept saying, he kept talking about and giving reasons why this would last longer, and yet the artwork is still good. He was complaining that a lot of the artwork that they wanted was too simple, and that it just looked bad. It didn't even look like a nice coin. It looked like crap.
so there was one where they were talking about, and I don't know if it's the same one that you're talking about. It was the chains on the hands for the reverse, where
that come up a couple times. There was a couple of them that had chains.
So the guy that was talking about that is actually one of the lead, the lead minting guys. So he's actually the one who's responsible for like the floor, that area, and he was talking about the technical reasons why the designs could potentially pose problems and cause money for the U.S. Mint. And he kept saying
that was the same guy that kept. I know that was the same guy that kept saying, we don't want this coin, even though it's the easiest one to mint. It just looks cheap and trashy, basically.
Well, we've talked about that before on here. Like, just because the design looks great does not mean in a drawing doesn't mean it's going to translate well to a coin. Look at the Eleanor Roosevelt quarter. That's horrible. She looks like George
Here's
Bush.
One we all know.
It's terrible.
The Centennial Cents. I had the pleasure of going through 4 rolls yesterday because I got 4 boxes in.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a lot of die breaks in very complicated areas. And these coins, a lot of them are early to mid die state. So I bet you in 2009, they were not getting 500,000 coins to the reverse dies. Now on the obverse dies, probably, I bet you if you studied long enough, you would find obverse dies on 2 or 3 different reverse dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like on the formative years, there was a lot on the log. There was, so we know that the boots. I mean,
the axe, the hammer, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the lettering, it cracks through 1 cent. You had die cracks going through 1 cent.
Yeah. So Silver Wolverine, we're all saying the same thing. We're not a fan of the fact that they don't speak for us. But again,
well, you all have a chance to be on it.
But there's an opening. Remember that there's only one voice amongst 30, and it's not like you're not going to be influencing it, right? Because there's so much, and I was listening to some of this. Some of the arguments I understood, and there were some things that were said about, like, for instance, when you look at a crossed coinage, how many times is the person's name on the coin? So, for instance, we have the presidential dollars, which are the exception to the rule. But outside of that, Lincoln, if you look at Roosevelt, if you look at Washington, how many times and we're talking about circulating coinage, right? How many times is that person's name
on any?
the coin?
I can't think of any.
And
Well, the
so they were
quarters,
talking.
they do on the quarters. I mean, all of the women's quarters have their names on them.
Well, but
No,
yeah,
I'm talking
About
about the
almost all
president,
of
like
the women's quarters.
Washington,
Right, the
Lincoln,
yeah,
Roosevelt.
obverses, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But those are the exceptions to the rule because
Yeah.
that was a part
Well,
of
we
the
need to
design
quit
element.
putting dead people on our coins. But
And so
I do got to say, I enjoyed the argument about all the liberties, uh, the renditions. It got into racism and stuff like that. And,
that's I don't like every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, here goes the DEI crap stuff.
yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
it went on. I think it was the dime. They had one, and they had
Somebody's got to bring it up.
yeah, there was different races in the liberties.
Oh, the one that got me was the one that was the abolish versus abolishment, or abolitionism versus abolition.
Well, those were the ones that had the chains, and the mint guy kept saying you can't have the chains.
Yeah, they're going to break. They're going to be a source of weakness.
Yeah, it's going to be a source of weakness.
But I don't know why they're even including that stuff though, because what this is like. It should be about the Declaration of Independence, right?
You would think.
It should be all about the Declaration of Independence. It shouldn't have anything to do with slavery or liberty or whatever. I mean, liberty, yeah, I guess. But we've had a liberty depicted as a tree. I mean, come on.
Right.
You know? And you're worried about chains and
I'm not worried about any of them, but I did.
No, I know, but that's why I get frustrated watching those meetings.
I was impressed that some of these coins had 20 renditions.
Yeah.
Really? Like 20 different reverses. And I'm like, oh my God, why would they make 20 different reverses for the same coin? I mean, I could see 5, I can even see 10, but some of them had where they're like, I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then the guy says, well, we're going to go to page 2 now and look at those.
Yeah.
And I'm
like, so it's like, we're going to look at design element 23.
Yeah.
This is number 8 on your sheet. If you go to page 2.
Well, they should just make a coin that says, we hold these truths to be, the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't tread on me.
We hold these truths to be, the thing.
Yeah. So again, it's bureaucracy at its finest, right? But again, the reason that we bring that up is because on that panel, there's only one person that really represents the numismatic hobbyist. And you're talking about
he truly does.
Huh?
I don't think I think the person that's being replaced, I think he's just some guy. I don't think he's an actual collector or anything.
Yeah. So again, when you're talking about what is the likelihood that we'll have influence there, it's going to be slim and none. Right now, if you really want to make impacts, be sending letters to people. You'll be surprised if an office starts getting flooded with letters. They'll start heeding some of that. Obviously, you can do the number one best thing is just not buy anything, but you can't do that with circulating coinage. Right? Circulating coinage is going to come out. It is what it is. But if you really want to do that, but again,
which is what the 2026 coin is all about. That everybody's all excited about is all the circulating coinage. Yeah.
So and again, folks, hoarding this kind of stuff, all you do is you kill the value in it. So,
it's one thing to get a roll and keep it. It's another thing to get boxes and boxes of it.
Yeah, Yankee, I get you.
It's gonna happen. It happened with bicentennial, coins. So it's gonna happen. But
but these
people
ones
are still hoarding those.
Yeah, these ones you won't be. I mean, if you want to collect the bags or things of that nature, then yeah. But again, we talked about that. There's an agenda that's here. As people watch these meetings, they're going to see there are very specific sets of agendas. One of the things, and I'm not going to get into the racism argument. I'm not going to get into the political argument. I'm not going to get into the religious articles or argument, because these should be about the founding of our country, right?
It should be about the Declaration of Independence. That's what it should be about.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's
signing of the Declaration of Independence,
the
signing of the Constitution, right? Like those are the things that set us on that path.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. I mean, that they had, it was very interesting. It wasn't about racism, that my point. It was the interest that they had in Indian. They had a black person. They had, I think they even had different, I mean, I don't even know how many. There was tons of them, but just different races is liberty. The thing that was kind of discouraging is everybody really kind of was worried about the race more than anything. And I mean, people don't realize an Indian head cent, that's liberty. It's not an Indian.
Well, listen, if they want to be historically accurate, then they need to go back to how it was during when the Declaration of Independence came about, because it wasn't
and I
so
even
nice
think
for
that, like,
some.
the flowing hair and all that, I even think that that's supposed to be liberty, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, but
That's what I think, all the women.
here's the thing that I get when we're talking about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to forgive but not forget, right? So remember the atrocities that happened, right? We talk about 9/11, never forget. And it's convenient that everybody remembers it the week before and then the day after, and then 9/11 is no longer on anybody's mind.
Well, look at Pearl Harbor Day. Nobody
Right?
even remembers it now because everybody's dead.
December
That
7th,
lived
right? I remember it.
Yeah.
I was stationed in
So do
Pearl.
I. But it used to be all day. Your TV was inundated with
Yeah,
information about Pearl Harbor Day.
yeah. But again, it's one of these things that we choose some of the items that we choose to remember. Some of the, and I don't say remember as in knocking the social advents of somebody who, uh, for instance, Rosa Parks sitting on the bus, right, fighting for her rights as a human being. That's
Fantastic
civil rights.
human being.
I get that, right?
Yep.
But it's one of those things that, what does that have to do with the founding of our nation? It's a part of our nation's history, and but it's not. Slavery is not conducive to the United States, right? This happened all over the world, and if you look at the history of it, there are more black slave traders and sellers than there were because they were selling their own people.
Well, here we can go make it easy. Columbus Day. Up until 10 years ago, everybody, all the kids drew pictures of the Santa Maria and Pinta and all that.
We used to get Columbus Day off for school.
Yeah, and now
it's not even Columbus Day anymore. What is it?
Day, because
it's Indigenous People Day or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't like to bring Columbus in because they said he crushed the rights of the people.
Our 2026 celebration, our semi-quincentennial, should have nothing to do with slavery, any of that.
Yeah.
It should be strictly about the Declaration of Independence. It is the 20. It's it should have nothing to do with. I could see
celebrating the end of the Revolutionary War in there.
It is a semi-quincentennial celebration of the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
And you could even make quarters that would have events 50-year, 100-year, 150-year, to remember that too.
Well, but that's what other commemorative programs are for, right?
You can make 5 quarters that would have the current, what big happened in, what would it be, 1836 or 18.
Yeah, instead of doing like youth sports.
Yeah, and then what big thing happened in 1876?
Isn't that what they're doing on the $50 in 2027? Like a youth sports program or something?
Something like that. They actually were doing the $50 on that CAC meeting too.
Yeah, it's goofy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Kraken, in this case, so I'll be very clear, and I'm going to defend this. It's really easy, and I see this a lot. Now, I'm going to speak my mind. You guys can either say, Frostys, you're insane, or listen to the point.
It's your show, man.
Well, but this is what I want people to understand. The government is a really easy place to place your blame. But we have the right as a people. We are a republic. We have the right as a people to demand change. And the problem is complaining about something gets us nowhere. When we're talking about the CAC meeting, that is not a government meeting. That is it's not mandated by the government. Now, this is a government office. They have a job to do. Their job is to look at certain requirements, certain processes. But it is the purpose of that is not about the hobbyist. Now we're
No, the
frustrated
number
because
one.
we're hobbyists. Hold on, Eric.
Okay.
We're hobbyists and we're frustrated because we don't feel like we're represented. Well, we need to have a voice. How do we do that? Well, we need to discuss that. We need to talk about ways in which we as a people who are interested in understanding and collecting coins, right? We want to see certain things. We want to remember back when things were the founding of our nation. We want to see things like this, right? And I've seen a lot of people comment about this and be like, "You guys are foolish. You're absurd. You guys are ignorant because you spend all this money on something that's a gamble." The people who really want this medal for the medal are not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a privy is a bonus,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah,
I got it
want
because I
that-
like the design.
Mm-hmm.
the people that are going to want that as bullion will buy it 10 years from now.
Yeah, and so, but again, when you're looking at it, there are people that want to do the quick flip. Was it a gamble to purchase this if you're trying to just get the privy? Absolutely. You should have waited till it came out, was graded, then you just spend the extra money, buy the privy, and be done with it. I didn't get it because I wanted the privy. Well, the privy would have been nice to have. I wanted the medal, right? I wanted it because it reminded me of the first dollar that was created, 1794, a very cool design, something that goes back and looks at it. But I want to be very clear about this. And Kraken, I'm not picking on you, brother. Please understand that. Because I see this with other people. No, I'm not. But I'm not picking on. I want Kraken to understand. I'm not picking on him. He's just the one that happened to put the comment in. You can't blame government for everything because we as the
They're
people
a
have the
business.
right.
The U.S. Mint is a business.
We have the right as a people to insist change. Okay? And so we have to watch, and again, right? Well, I'm not going woke. I get that, right? I'm not there either. However, if you want a change, get your butt out there and vote. Understand. Don't just go based off popularity. Really understand what's going. It may require. Oh no, Kraken, I fully understand you don't have the intentions of offending anybody. My point isn't directed at you. Again, you have to understand, folks, that when we're sitting up here, we're moderating, we're looking, we're trying to conduct a site. When somebody puts something into chat, it's not I'm going to snag on that person and I'm going to blast them. It's the opportunity to talk about something.
Yeah.
And what I want people to understand is that it's a really easy scope. It's a really easy cop out. Say, oh, it's the government. It's the government. It's the government. No, there's a lot of good people in government trying to do the right thing. There are.
Just got to have those $1,000 gift cards to pass out.
Well, but again, there are going to be people that want to utilize government for their own purpose. There are definitely agendas on both sides of the coin, right? For the numismatic pun. So you're going to have to do that. But again, when you vote, don't just vote party lines. Vote topics.
Yeah.
Really understand what people choose. Really understand what people are about, and get people in there that are really after, are really about fighting for your rights, fighting for justice, and not just going with the status quo. Right? We as a people have the opportunity to impact change. Don't complain about it. Do something about it. Yeah, right? Letters to your Congress people.
I see in the CAC meetings is the actual ability to produce these coins at a certain level and security. That actually is the two biggest things. Everything else is just kind of filler.
Yeah, the one thing about the CAC meeting that I really did enjoy was I enjoyed the discussion back and forth about why. There were a lot of things I learned about the history of the coin. There was a lot about the history of the person that's on it. And there was one gentleman that said, and it was talking specifically about the names like I was talking earlier. It's like, well, hold on then. How many times have we done this in the past? If we want people to know who's on a coin, then we sit down with our kids and we have that discussion with them.
Right.
We don't do that.
A lot of
I don't
people
know.
don't
I don't
know
know, man.
who the
I don't
people
know.
on the coins are because they're not taught that kind of stuff anymore. Uh, so unless you just happen to be around or you looked at it, you might not know the person that's on the coin. So I kind of get it from that aspect. Put the person's name. That way you look at the name, you might actually look into who it is and what they've done. But many of the people that are going on these coins, most of us don't know.
But if I see the name of somebody on there and I don't know who it is, I'm going to dismiss it. If I see somebody and I'm like, who in the world is this? I might take a few moments
Well,
and
they
find
did
out.
that with 90% of the women's quarters.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. And I got to
Yep.
say, when I get one in the thing, I Google the name to see what. The only one I knew was the lady that was the mathematician for NASA.
Sally Ride.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, on the women's quarters? I didn't even know she was on the women's quarters. I know who you're talking about. Listen, the women's quarters from the get went completely DEI. They just wrecked it because they tried to be so inclusive that they were putting these ballerinas, and I mean, they may have made some kind of contribution to whatever, but they excluded so many other people, that so many other women that should have been on those quarters that weren't, because they wanted to include, like,
Katherine Johnson, Eric.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the black lady they did the movie about, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Extremely
I still
talented.
haven't seen that movie. I want to watch that movie.
It's a great movie.
And it was a time of, there you go. It was a time when there was a lot of racism in this country.
Yeah, they didn't even have bathrooms, right? They didn't even. She had to go
different bathroom, but they
Yeah.
didn't even give her an official title. They kind of just said, "Here, we know that you're talented. We know that you got the right stuff. So we're just going to let you do it and not tell anybody about it."
Yeah.
Yeah. So the part that Paula was talking about, she has to walk all the way across the compound to use the restroom. That's why she was.
Yeah, I thought she had to
minutes
go
late
to a
when-
different building completely.
Yeah.
I think they ended up, like I say, changing stuff just for her because she was so valuable.
Good.
She was brilliant.
Oh, I need to.
Well, she's like the primary reason that we landed on the moon.
That, and there's another brilliant woman. I'm trying to think. I keep thinking Lana Turner.
Paula?
Basically,
what?
yeah.
Paula Bloom.
Paula Bloom, yeah. But basically invented the technology to make global positioning and all sorts of stuff.
Lana Turner was an actress.
Who? Yeah, she was an actress. But she did all this other stuff and people don't realize it. She was a huge inventor. I don't know if it was Lana Turner. I'm not sure who it was.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just sitting here trying to figure out how to split.
Oh, it's Hedy Lamarr.
I need someone to invent something that will help me split my little thyroid pill in half.
They have them. She invented frequency hopping and spread spectrum communications. And she was the key person that made it impossible to radio jam torpedoes.
Oh.
But basically, our global positioning.
WKRP.
Yeah. It was Hedy Lamarr. But basically, our global positioning is from technology she started in the 40s. But there you don't see her get a lot of credit for it because, she was a woman in the 40s. The men didn't want her to get credit for it.
I didn't.
That's
going back to
somebody watches Blazing Saddles.
Going back to the CCAC meetings, I've watched those for years, and I did not watch one of the meetings on these, the most recent ones that they did, because I knew exactly the direction it was going to go, and it's so frustrating And you guys just talking about it lets me know that I just don't want to go watch it, because they like, I don't understand their thinking. If they want to do all of this other stuff about chains and all that other crap, make a completely different series. But they need to keep their focus for the 2026 coinage on what that is about.
Yeah, make a flowing chains metal.
They need to make it about what it is about, and I don't know. It's just so frustrating. Like, I mean, I get that people, I get that there are things that they want to include and stuff like that, but I think that I think what the biggest thing this DEI, in my opinion, does for society in general is it really, I don't think there's that many people that are really worried about it. You know what I mean? Like, they make everything seem like, oh, everybody wants to be included, and this race is not included as much as this race and everything else. And I don't think that the majority of the population really feels that way.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that the DEI is used to satisfy the feelings, or keep the people from I'm trying to get a point across, and I can't figure out how I want to say this. I don't think that DEI is as important to the majority of the population as they think it is, because I think that most of us are bigger than that. We really just don't give a crap. I think that the majority of us feel included. We don't feel like we're being excluded from stuff. I don't even know where that came about. Yeah, I don't even know where that came about. Like, I think it accomplishes the complete opposite of what they were trying to make it accomplish, because I heard somebody, this was the take from somebody that made so much sense to me. So it's making people look at professionals through a different oh gosh, come on, Paul. You can get to it. So here's what it is. Like, if you get on a plane, okay, and you see that the pilot and the co-pilot come out, and
with a parachute.
Well, no. So you see, what it does is it makes you take a second look at that pilot and go, is that pilot a pilot now because he was really good at what he did, or is he a pilot now because he was in the DEI program? He was allowed because he was allowed in because he was black, because they needed to fill.
Oh, you're talking about quota days.
I'm talking about DEI. What DEI does is.
Hell, I thought DEI was Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
Is it makes people look at, like, their surgeons and people in professions where like you could die because somebody got let into a program, not because they were the best at what they did, but because they were a certain race or a certain gender or a non-gender gender or a certain color. You know what I mean? Like,
yep,
so now it makes everybody, like, I don't know. I think it's doing the complete opposite of what they intended it to do.
Yeah. Send your response to Paula Bloom, P.O. Box.
Yeah, and it'll take you'll get a 50-page letter back with that where only one sentence makes any sense. That was a big word salad. You're welcome.
But you know, she was raised
did
from a middle
anybody
class family.
understand the point? Did anybody understand the point that I was trying to
I
make?
absolutely do.
Yeah.
More than you think.
Like 20 years ago, I
I
could
was
have
a
sat
victim
on a
of that in the
plane,
late 80s.
or even 10 years ago, I could have sat on a plane, and if a woman or a black pilot got on, I would have had not a second thought about it.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
but nowadays it makes you go, were they the most qualified, or are they pilots now because they were let into the program? Did they earn it? And
Well,
I'm not
hopefully it's
thinking
all of
that
it.
way because I'm racist or anything else at all. But it does make people question that. And that's horrible for the black population, and it's horrible for women that now people are going to look at them and think that way. So it's done the complete opposite of what it was intended to do, in my opinion.
Well, a
Well,
lot of things happen like that.
have you seen
And I hope
Morgan
that
Freeman's
makes sense to
discussion?
you guys and didn't come across
Yes,
the wrong way. I
Have
hope
you
it
seen
made
Morgan
sense.
Freeman's discussion, Paula, where
on
he's
60
talking about
Minutes.
racist? Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
like, you guys do know that you're to blame, right? You want
Yeah,
racism to go away. Quit freaking talking about it. You guys put it up
exactly.
there
Well, it's
because it's
okay to talk
divisive.
about it. Just don't thrive on
Well,
it.
but the thing is they put it up there because it's divisive. And in order for them to achieve their political desire and aspirations, they have to have a divisive people. If we come across as one united people, really concerned about the actual items that matter, they lose control. And there's a lot of people that don't want to lose control of that. So you look at divisive, everything nowadays is divisive. Everybody, it
It's
goes back to,
terrible.
well, it goes back to, here, I'll give you a great one. Japanese internment camps in Utah, right? During
Veterans for
World
jobs
War
is the
II.
same thing.
Um, did nothing wrong. They've
Yeah,
been in the
same thing,
United
William.
States first, second generation that were put into internment camps. You look at the Cold War era, everybody was
Hmm.
looking at their friend or their neighbor because of conspiracy or communism. Everybody was guilty. Everybody's a potential consequence.
Hmm.
You need to watch and observe everybody. It's divisive. And the
It
purpose
is.
is if you can have a population that is so abstract focused on things that don't freaking matter, then they don't pay attention to the things that actually do matter,
There you
and
go.
you can brush those things under the
Subterfuge.
carpet. So again,
Subterfuge at its best.
Well, they talk about it, talk about it, talk about it until they can control it. That's what it is. You
yep,
talk about it, you lie about it, lie about it, lie about it until you can control it.
yep.
That's
And
right, William.
when,
It is. It
well,
is.
so there's a great example of this, and I might get the item wrong, but there was a issue of a lost amount of money that was supposed to be sent wherever. And somebody had brought this up. If you look at, I've got to do the research on this and find out because I don't want to quote that incorrectly. But there was something like $200 million that just like disappeared, and it was a really big to do. That evening, national news was about kittens and cutesy, fluffy, fartsy stuff that didn't matter. It was the prime thing. They talked about it. They laughed. Everybody joked about it. But they totally deviated from the item that everybody wanted to know about. And they deviated, and then something happened, and they focused, because they wanted to keep everybody away from the particular item. And I can't remember exactly what it was. I wanted to say it had to do with some donations going overseas. Um,
Hmm.
I'll do the research and I'll put it in the the description afterwards because I want to make sure that I provide the information for you. But yeah, it's about dividing, right? You go back to the basic tenet of the proletariat of Burgoyne, um, the the element of socialism, the element, and when you look at where we're heading as a nation, if you look at the divide, the intent, the purpose was to increase the gap, right? We talk about caste systems, we talk about things like that, and we're appalled by them, but we're creating them.
That's right.
Because when you look at the general premise, when you look at the general process by which to gain or center power, the number one method, the number one tool is to become a divisive force. So if you can separate people, you can stop people from understanding the basic premise of the actual item that matters, and you can get them to focus on the things that don't and get mired in the things that don't, stupid things that have really no basis even for being on the table as part of the conversation, and that's the general focus of people, and they go crazy about it. Then those things that really matter, the money, the politics, the decisions that actually impact us as a people, are left to the handful. That is the definition. That is the by fault, the default of the bourgeois and the proletariat, right? When you look at that, that is the fundamental tenet of socialism, which leads to communism. When you
Well,
look at
America has always been the most inclusive place that anyone can live.
right, well, we're the
That's
melting
what
pot.
has always
Yeah.
made that is what has
Yep.
always made America great. That's what sets us apart from every other nation. That's what's always made us great. So all this DEI stuff does is it makes people think that we haven't always been inclusive.
But are they
Like,
still doing that? I thought they quit doing that kind of stuff.
no. DEI,
Yeah.
it's everywhere. No, it's still everywhere. In fact, it's even more.
Oh, you're right. There's a big Supreme Court case about it right now.
Yes.
Kevin, and there was a comment in a cartoon that is probably one of the most prolific and wise statements that was put in a cartoon. How many people have seen The Incredibles? Put a one in chat if you've seen
I just
the
watched
cartoon animation The Incredibles.
I just
In
watched.
that movie, there's a line by the guy that had the big S on his syndrome, right? And the comment is that if everybody's special, nobody is.
Nobody is. That's
And
right.
so what they do, the whole premise behind that is to make every little group think that there's something special and there's something unique. We look at this with No Child Left Behind. We look at the general premise.
Participation trophies.
Right. And what happens
Oh,
is
yeah. Look what
everybody's
your dad
equal.
said to you.
Everybody's the same. And the problem is that they say that, but you have to give special accommodations to everyone. Back in the day, if I wanted to be a better person, I had to work at it.
Wow.
Now I just tell somebody I want to be a better person, and they grant me a certificate and say, "You're a better person."
Right. Well, when you were young, did your dad ever say, when you had a problem, divide and conquer, divide and conquer?
Yeah,
You'd
all
make
the time.
2 or 3 little problems, and then all of a sudden your big problem went away.
Yep, my granddad used to say, "Pick your battles."
Pick and choose your battles
Yep,
and
pick
divide
your
and
battles.
conquer.
Right?
Win a bunch of small battles equals the big battle.
I talk to Bifrost all the time about this, and it's like, look, there are arguments that you can have with me. There are arguments you can have with your mother, and then there's the arguments that you have to look back and go, what am I going to gain from this? Sometimes people argue for the sake of arguing. People argue for the sake of just hearing their voice. I talk about the tuning fork. If you've ever had a tuning fork, how many people have seen those, right? Where you think it's a perfect pitch. To that particular item, it's a perfect pitch. You utilize it to tune. Normally it's pianos, but it can be used for other things. Before the advent of social media and all of this stuff, the village idiot was the village idiot. They were isolated. They were looked on as such. Now all the village idiots get together and they have a voice, and it's scary because everybody goes, "Oh yeah, they have a legitimate idea," and it's like, "Oh my God, what do you guys think?" Like, do you not hear the pretense of what's happening? We look at, and you can talk about this in every facet, right? There are theories and there are belief structures that, you know, cults. We see this all the time where, everybody's like, oh, the world's going to die tomorrow, so everybody needs to lock themselves in a room, and they open it up and there's 60 people that commit suicide. Why? Because these little small groups think that they have this voice. They think that they have the power to inflict it on everybody. And folks, really, you can say whatever you want, but it doesn't mean
That's what
people have
makes
to
this
listen to
country great.
you. Yeah.
You can think
So
whatever you want.
right, and
Yeah.
you can say this, but now everybody's demanding that they be heard. Listen, you can speak all you want. Doesn't require me to listen to you.
That's right.
You can voice whatever you want and say, "Oh God, don't even get me started there, Roxilla." Um, you can
Mm.
say whatever you want, but it doesn't mean that I have to subscribe to your train of thought. Now, what I will do is I will ask you, can you talk to me about that and explain to me why you believe that? What's the general premise? Paula and I talk about this all the time. Paula is fervent in her belief. Paula is fervent in who she is as a person. She knows what she knows. She believes what she believes. But if you give Paula a solid argument based on
Mm-hmm.
facts, not conjecture, not opinion, not feelings, but general belief, understanding, you research it, you show her, she'll look at it and go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I don't subscribe to that. I can see exactly where you're at. I need to take that into consideration. Like I need to really think about that. That's what we need
I
to be as
change
a
my mind a
people.
lot. I
Yeah.
change my mind a lot. I do change my mind a lot, oftentimes. In particular about coins and processes and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
Well, you
yeah,
have to.
Yeah.
yep. As
Yeah. And
more
vote for
evidence
Pedro.
comes to light,
It's
things
exactly right.
people learn things. And,
Yep. Vote for Pedro is exactly right. We have gone backwards. Race relations in this country, not because the country is racist, but because politicians make it seem like we are. I thought MLK already resolved this through context of character. Again, yeah, you have
yeah,
to keep
it
something alive,
should
right?
be about the content of a person's character.
Yep.
It
Yep.
absolutely
Yep.
should be.
And
It should
so,
be.
again, it's just one of those things that in order for people to keep something alive. Now, I want to be very clear, okay? I do things in my day-to-day job because it's my requirement. It's the mission of our objective, it's our goal, it's a strategy, it's an aim that I personally don't necessarily have to agree with. It's my job, it's my mission. I have a job to get done. And if I am at a point where I no longer feel like my moral or that logos, that ethos, if those things are not lining up with me, and it's my obligation to say I'm done. I need to move on. But it's not for me to say, well, you guys are challenging my my beliefs. You guys need to change. I don't. I think that's just cowardice.
Well, I think people need to look really deep into some of this stuff like DEI because many times when through history, when things like this have come up, it goes back to the government. It's the government's way of controlling a certain population.
Yeah, and
We
again, it's divisive, right? It's meant.
it's very divisive.
Yep,
Like
it is
I
meant.
went through I came up in when I was going through school. We learned about slavery. We learned about the Holocaust. We learned about things like that. We learned about it, and then we went and we moved on. Right? It should always stay a part of our history. We should always learn about it. We should always teach about it because if you don't, you're bound to repeat it. The problem
Yeah,
is they're taking it out now. They're taking it out. They're blaming other people on it, but it's them taking it out because it's their way of controlling a certain population. Um, it's been done throughout history. They make people think that they're in control when really they're not.
yeah, Kevin, that is one of my favorite quotes by Socrates. I'm not
Boy, there is a
Athenian
lot
or Greek,
of
a
those
citizen of the world.
flowing hair metals with privy marks on eBay now.
Hey, Paula,
Even one sold, two sold,
can you do me
three
a favor
sold.
real quick?
1 second, I got a phone call. Hang on.
Okay. Hopefully it's not Jack because she will return about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, there's a lot of these that have sold already, Frostbite.
A lot of what?
The flowing hair with privy marks.
Oh yeah, I mean they had pre-sold as soon as they got them in. They were already sold.
Yeah, Coin Addict has sold 3. He's getting 67.50 a piece. The ones with there's only one with the certificate, and they want 23,000 for it.
We just saw one with a signed certificate that had
Okay, sorry.
like
Was
$5,700.
it 19 of 230?
Real quick, hey, yeah, but they're not going to get that. Paula, do me a favor.
Okay.
Look at your text.
Look at my text. Look at my text. Or did you send me a naked picture?
No, I sent you something better.
Oh.
Oh, Lord.
Oh. Oh, that's great. Oh
So-
my gosh, that's great. He bought me a pill cutter.
It should be there Monday or
great.
Tuesday.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
You don't have one?
No, and these thyroid pills are tiny, and every time I try to break one up, they just like crumble. Because I have to take a full one 6 days a week and a half one on the 7th day, and every time I try to break one, it either I get like a huge piece and then a tiny piece, or I can't get it broken half.
If it's a good pill cutter, it'll work good.
Well, this is the one I
Well,
use for.
Thank you.
You slide it in, and the pill sets in, and then you just.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you can do 2 or 3 of them, but
I
the
know.
VA gives you free ones too. Yeah, Ringmaster Ray.
but I'm
I
not
have
going
2
to
of
the
them. I should
VA
have sent her
anytime
one,
soon.
I just thought it would be funny to drop ship her one from Amazon.
That's funny. Thank you. That was very thoughtful.
Yeah. So I'm going to post the link, and folks, I want to be very clear that nobody on the panel is against free speech. Nobody on the panel is against the ability or the right for people to speak or defend their beliefs. What we're trying to say is that be careful falling into some of these categories just by default, right? It's easy to go with the flow, but it's hard to stand against even a small stream. If you guys have ever stood in a street that was flooded with 3 or 4 inches of water, it's easy for your feet to get knocked out from underneath. You got to make sure you have a firm footing or a good grasp on your beliefs.
Yeah, you got
to really understand
I
who
just
you are.
don't think that racism is as bad as
it's not.
As they want to tell us it is.
It is
like,
a convenient.
Are there really that many racists in the United States of America that we have to make a special thing for it? Like, I don't.
So
I don't think so.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say something that's going to probably upset some people. Is racism out there? Yes, 100%.
Of course it is.
Okay, there are people who don't like people based off
against
race,
all races,
religion, creed, ethnicity, being a man, being a woman. There are people who can't stand the fact that there are men that are alive on this earth.
But I think that's just hate.
It is. That's just stemmed in hate.
That's
but
just
again,
hate.
As a generalized group of people, now again, folks, remember, we're talking slavery is still an issue across the globe. But is it something that it's isolated and focused here? No. You know what? You really want to take up a mantle of something that we need to work on? I'll give you something. If you really want to make a change in the world and you really want to do something, put your coins away, put your silver away, right? Stop your hobbies and focus on human trafficking.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. I think that is
my coins.
I think that is probably one of the biggest slave trade there is right now is
It is a
children and
huge
women.
it is a
Children
huge
and
problem.
women.
It is something that is
Children and
a
women.
area of
And men.
focus that we need to deal
It's
with.
not just children and women.
Yeah, no,
What is it?
it goes across the board, right?
It's everybody. Yeah.
It is exactly, Kevin Rose. It is a human rights catastrophe, and
Yeah,
it
it
is
is.
something that is rampant. It is across the globe. This is something that has been going on for many, many, many years, and it's just getting worse. There are more clever and quick ways. Uh, there are the uses of technology allow people to pretend to be other people they're not. They set people up into places. We look at the phishing and the scheming things that happen. They put people into such harm's way that there are people that are so enamored. Let me rephrase that. That are so belittled on social media that they end up thinking that there's no way forward, and that because they have one or two cyber bullies, they think everybody hates them, and they end up taking their own life.
So
There
can
are
I just
other
bring something?
factors that are way more important than the ones that are being issued on the table that should be addressed first and foremost.
So there's a huge problem right now that we really are not talking enough about when it comes to these illegal immigrants that we have in this country right now. Do people realize that I would say probably the majority of them are going to be slaves to these Mexican cartel who brought them over and dumped them off into our country? They're going to be their slaves for years because they owe them money. Like just about every single one of them that was brought over by a cartel, they owe those people money.
That's human
And they
trafficking in its basic definition.
It is. It
Yep.
certainly is. And that's, why isn't like why aren't our government officials talking about that too?
Yep.
I mean, like that in and of itself is just a
So
horrible
mad.
travesty because if they think for 1 second that those cartel aren't going to follow through with their threats, I would bet you my right boob that they will follow through with their threats if those people do not earn money and pay them what they owe them for bringing them across the
Well,
border.
fear is a primary tactic. And in order
Yes.
to instill fear, you have to stand by your word. That's um,
The best part about that bet, Paula,
No,
is
absolutely not, Kevin.
you can
Absolutely
always go
not.
double or nothing.
We have a legal immigration system. This country was built on that. We absolutely have. What these people coming across now are doing is jumping the line. They're taking cuts. They're jumping the line. They are pushing the people that actually want to come here legally to the back of the line, and they're just coming through no, 98% of Americans are not here illegally. I don't know where you get that number.
well, yeah, remember we're talking about Native America here, right? When we came over from, and I understand the premise of where he's going with that.
Yeah, you can't have an illegal system when there's no legal definition,
Yeah.
when
So
there's no laws. So there were no laws at that time. That there were no borders. This wasn't even an established country.
yeah, I understand where you're going with that, Kevin, and I get the premise of that. But what we're talking about
No, I
is
don't.
well, but again, what we're talking about here, and again, you look at this across, um,
No, they're illegal immigrants.
yeah. So there are laws put in place. There are things that you need to follow. Um,
Yes.
it is less obstructive here in the U.S. than it is in other countries. Um, you know, there are certain things that you put into place. Some nations you can absolutely get citizenship to by following the legal
Right.
code
Swamp dog.
and things like that, right? But there are some countries that you can't. It doesn't matter what you do. You will never be able to gain a passport. You will never be able to gain citizenship. Switzerland is a great example of that. One of the best passports in the world to get is a Swiss passport because you're not going to get one. Um, but again, when we're talking about this, we're talking about the legal process of becoming um, a citizen, right? Coming over here, having a work visa, right? Having a education visa, things like that. So again, it's another method by which to just kind of monitor and track who's in the system. Now, it does help us control uh, some violent factions. That is one purpose of this is to understand who's coming and going, and it is a good way for us to monitor within the security realm and within the intelligence community to monitor certain groups to ensure that certain things don't happen.
Yeah, we're not
Again,
loved by the entire world. We are
no,
not loved. Believe it
yeah.
or not, we are not loved by the whole world.
So
And there are people that want to come in and destroy us.
we do have self protection that needs to occur, and that is usually housed in this particular facet. Now, with that being said, okay, it is a system that can be manipulated. So in that, I do want to say that
Aaron, me too.
everything can be manipulated, right? So we've got to be very careful with that. But there are legal rules and requirements to coming across to being in the United States. Now, when we're talking specifically about this particular case, I understand illegal immigrants, but what we're talking about, the crux of this matter, as they talk about illegal immigration, what Paul is talking about is human trafficking, right? By all definition, you can say it however you want to, but by all
Yeah.
definition, the issue is human trafficking. It's
Yep.
the taking of somebody's lives, taking away their ability to be free, taking their ability away to be an individual person, and locking them into, and it doesn't necessarily be sex labor. It can be a trade of um, uh, just basic slave labor, like basic labor.
Yep.
And there
All
are,
we've done is made these cartels rich. That's all we've done.
yeah,
We've made them super rich and made them a superpower now. That's all we've done. Because they are making a boatload of money bringing people across our borders. A boatload of money. Not to mention all the fentanyl and everything else that's coming across, but
well, we manufacture it here too. But
not
again,
like that. The majority of the fentanyl that is in our country right now, the ingredients are made in China. They are imported to Mexico, and Mexico makes the fentanyl, and then it's brought across to us. The majority of the fentanyl that's killing our citizens right now is coming from Mexico.
yeah, but again, we got to be careful talking in absolutes when we're talking about illegal migration and stuff like that, because we also allow something called fugitives, right? Um, but what's
You're
the
talking
other
about
term?
asylum.
Yeah,
Political.
they are emptying their prisons.
What's
No, you're
the?
talking about asylum, political asylum.
Yeah.
Thank you. There you go. Yeah, but
Hmm.
refugees, right? So there are political refugees, and they are not to be classified in the same thing. So there's there's a lot of political potential for,
They have dirtied that word too, though, Frostbite. You know it.
yeah,
They have dirtied that too.
yeah, Kevin. I'm tracking what you're saying. I understand where you're going with that. Um, you're gonna again, right? It's about histories. Uh, People are going to view histories, right? History is written by the victor. Um, and so I get your point. I really do. And I'm not, when we're speaking of this stuff, I'm not trying to diminish. I hope you understand that, Kevin. I appreciate your brother. But again,
I just want, I want someone to explain that to me though. Because
explain what.
when they're saying that we are all that people came here illegally in the beginning, when our this country was established, there were no laws at that time.
Well,
There
hold
were
on.
no
But
immigration laws, anything like that. So how is that? How are they classifying that as coming here illegally?
so are you, okay, so this is the question that Coach posed, right? it's naive to think that the Native Americans didn't have laws just because we didn't have a system of government then. We didn't understand and recognize it. That's the difference. We didn't recognize them as, and this is one of the reasons.
But this wasn't even, America wasn't even an established country.
Oh no, there was people that were illegal even during the 30s and 40s. They came in illegally.
No, they're talking about the establishment of the Americas.
Well,
that's what they're talking about. Way back, Columbus.
Well, before that, it'd be Cortez, I think.
Yeah, they're talking about way back then.
Yeah, so when we talk about, so again, there's the people that were here prior to us being.
It wasn't even a country.
Well, not one that we recognize.
No, it was a colony. It was not even a country.
Yeah, but I think what Frostbyte's saying is the Native Americans might have considered it their country, but we didn't go by their laws. We were English, German, and Portuguese.
You're talking about what we did. See, that's a, and I understand where Kevin's going with that. That's a common misperception. Yeah.
But each tribe of each of the Native Americans had their own tribes. They had their own areas. They had their own.
Yeah, but did we care what they thought?
It wasn't even a country, is what I'm saying. Though we're talking about now. We have a country now with borders.
I'll bet you if you talk to the Indians, they thought it was a country.
Yeah,
Canada's attached to us too, but they're not part of the. Canada is attached to us too, but they are not part of America. Right? The land. It was just land. It was just land, right? It was just land back then. It wasn't even a country.
That's not what I'm saying. The people that were here before the English got here, or actually before the Norwegians got here, because now they say the Norwegians got here first.
I'm trying to understand how.
So Native Americans that were here didn't. I'm sure they didn't say, "Well, come on over and take our country over." But I'm sure when the people from the ship showed up on the shore, they were like, well, who the hell are these people? And what do they want with this? But you're talking 900 years, you're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Right. That's what he's
comparing that situation with 50 years ago.
That's my point.
50 years ago, there was illegal immigration.
That's my point. He's saying that back then, because of what happened back then, we're all here illegally.
Well, I think that's just a broad statement.
That doesn't make, in my brain, that doesn't make sense because you have to have established laws to.
But like I'm saying, the Indians had established laws. That's why people got scalped.
If you.
I don't know that they had laws. I mean, I guess they did, but
they're not
tribe
recognized.
To tribe.
Yes, but there's still tribal laws that happen. There are certain
within their tribes.
No, not just within. There are governing tribes. There are bodies. Many tribes would come together in tribal unions. And Kevin, you're going to have to correct me with some of the verbiage in this. But many tribes would come together. They would house. Some were warring factions, but they would come together. The chiefs would get together and they would talk about the general areas of their land. They would talk about borders. They would talk about that. It's called a tribal. Yeah, thank you, a tribal council. And that tribal council was very similar to a system of government that we have here. It's obviously a little bit different because the chiefs were appointed. They grew into that. That was their role.
They were killing each other too, Frostbyte.
Yes, I understand that.
Well, that doesn't. I mean, so were the white people in Europe.
Yeah,
but again, there's been wars. We all kill each other. I mean, that's.
But it doesn't negate the fact that there were tribal councils and tribal laws that existed far beyond us being here. Right? We look again. Here's another great example: the Inuit people. The Inuit people have lived in both Russia and in Alaska. They live in northern Canada. They're a tribal based system, and they have laws and rules and regulations that are met. We have laws.
We still have that today. We still have
that pre-existed us. They had been in those areas way before we got here, and that's the argument.
We still have tribes and things like that here today.
Right. I think the point is
law and
that
stuff like that here today too.
to say it's illegal immigration, it's only illegal in the eyes of the people governing.
Exactly.
So when we first came, it was illegal in the Indians' eyes. But did it matter? Ultimately, no. Unlike a lot of people have posed, a lot of this stuff was bought and sold,
We
but was
weren't
it
a
theirs to
country.
buy and sell? Like the Louisiana Purchase, that was from the Spanish government. What made the Spanish government take ownership of it?
We weren't a country. We weren't
So-
a country back then.
Well,
so
that's not, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about pre-America, pre-Spanish, pre-Cortez, pre-Columbus, pre-Norwegians. There was people here, and they governed themselves. It wasn't a global globe then. It was a regional governments.
Right.
And like I say, I'm sure when we came, they weren't jumping for joy. It's just like everything else. Humans kill each other. That's what they do. Ultimately, that's why wars keep starting.
Yeah, Julie Chapman.
It'd be great not to have any more wars. We're going to have.
We had colonies way back. Go ahead. Sorry.
Julie Chapman asked a question. Then why do we have native nations recognized in the United States? It's because the people existed. Those nations existed far before us. So again, when
we're
talk
talking about illegal immigration, it's
I'm just gotten up onto a tangent.
Illegal immigration. Yeah. Let's back up. Well, I'm talking about illegal immigration.
Okay, so let me give one caveat.
To have illegal immigration, you have to have legal immigration.
Let me give one caveat.
It may not be perfect, but we have a legal system for people to immigrate to our country. For you to tell me that I can't call these people illegal immigrants when as soon as they cross our borders without going through our process, they have broken our laws. They are illegal immigrants. That's what it boils down to.
So nobody told you that you couldn't say that.
I don't think anybody wants to change
my mind.
But I don't think people are saying that it's right.
No,
he's saying that we're all illegal immigrants.
He's going back. We technically are. If you go back 400 years,
we weren't a country.
Right, but they were.
It's okay.
We weren't the United States of America.
But that's what I'm saying. But we still took over their country. We illegally. When he's saying that, he's using it as a term of speech, a figure of speech.
Yeah.
Now. We are not illegal.
But we're not illegal immigrants.
Hey, folks, I'm going to end this conversation. We're done. Seriously, we're done. Okay, we're going to stop it.
Why? Because
this is going in a direction that it's going to start causing frustration, and the conversation needs to stop. So I'm going to end it. Because we're talking about the semantics of this is. We're looking at different time periods through different lenses. And again, we don't have to agree, but at this point, it's becoming a little bit.
It is a healthy conversation, Scott. I completely agree.
So
I just want someone to change my mind.
I'm just going to end this portion of it, agree to stop, and just say, let's move on with the coin chat, and we'll get back to that. Again, conversation is good, right? I just wanted to make sure that we stopped at the point. No. Do not be sorry. I don't want anybody to ever apologize for commenting and saying stuff in chat. I am fervent in the belief that everybody has the right to speak their mind. I don't have to listen to it, but everybody has the right to ask questions. Everybody has the right to put information in here. What I want people to understand about this conversation was I understood the premise and the pretense by which Kevin made his comment. Now, was he saying it to be ignorant or rude? No, he was just making a statement. It's actually a conversation.
And I just am asking for. I was asking for his explanation to change. That's all. I just want an explanation.
What I wanted to clarify in
how you
that
can
conversation
have illegal immigration when there's no legal
was that we're looking at. So, for instance, I'm going to relate this back to coins. The Coin Act of 1853. Right? That was the point in which we decided we're no longer going to accept foreign currency as our own. Now, did that mean that it stopped? No. Did that mean that the Spanish 8 real was stopped being traded here locally? No, it was still traded as
It's
silver.
okay, Scottish.
It just wasn't recognized by the U.S. as a legitimate
Illegal coin.
Well,
coin.
what about
It was still there. It was still
what
there.
about the 1804 5 shilling $1 coins?
Say again?
The 1804 silver dollar 5 shilling coins that the British minted and distributed over here. They're like trade dollars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, it just let's just deviate from that one. And I do understand what your point is, Paula, in asking that question. But we were looking at it from 1776. He was looking at it from 85 AD. So it's just again just.
Oh, if you're going to 85 AD, it starts over in the Middle East back then.
Well, but we don't know, right? We don't know when.
Well, you can't have something illegal if you don't have something legal. So, by definition, that's my point. That's what it all boiled down to. I just wanted someone to explain to me. That's all.
Yeah, and again, that siren who said illegal coin, that would have been Silverman, who started talking about illegal coins. Anyway, I don't mind. I don't mind the conversation going squirrely. We do this all the time anyway. And we talk about stuff that matters. But here's the thing: we had some good conversation, and we pointed some things to the light. The fact that one of the issues that we would need to pay attention to as a person is, what are we doing here? We're having a conversation. We don't necessarily have to agree on it. We don't have to see the same vantage point, but we have to have the discussion. Only in having the discussion can we advance ourselves as a people. We can't think critically if we don't talk. And if we don't talk, we become tools of the machine. So we've got to be careful of that. And this goes for the coin hobby as well, right? What happened with this? There's a lot of dissension about what potentially went on and what were the dealings with the U.S. Mint in this particular metal, sending it through, right? This is where the whole conversation started. It morphed, obviously. But did the Mint do anything? Huh?
I said, no way.
Yeah. But did the Mint do anything illegal by selling it to them first? No.
There's 3 sides of a coin, Scottis.
There is 3 sides of a coin.
coin.
There's the obverse, the reverse, and the forgotten side.
The edge.
Yep. Not to be confused with the rim, which I did a lot when I was there.
There's a rim on the obverse and the reverse.
Yep. Anyway,
so
that was fun.
At the Mint schedule, who is Zitkala Sa?
Huh?
What? Oh, is that the quarter?
Yeah, the next one.
Not a clue. Not a clue.
Hold on. What's the name?
Zitkala.
I didn't know who Jovita Idar was until I looked it up. I had to look up 90% of these women on these women's quarters. I knew Eleanor Roosevelt. I knew Sally Ride.
Let's see.
I knew Maya Angelou. I knew who they were. Yeah, but many of these women's quarters, I'm like, what? How do you spell that? I didn't even know how to pronounce Ovida Idar.
She was Yankton of the Yankton tribe, White Indian Manual Labor Institute, Quaker missionary.
Definitely Native American.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or is she Inuit?
Music and teaching.
Oh, also known as Gertrude Simmons Bonin. She was a composer.
Important. Pineapple. Pineapple does belong on pizza, Starika. You're right. I love pineapple on pizza. I'm going to go get some more coffee.
That's another argument that's going to cause me to lose subscribers.
Doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be. That's right.
Pineapple and anchovies.
On the pineapple thing, You may not be right, but you're never wrong.
So I personally like pineapple on pizza, but not all pizza. It has to be a very specific type. I like the Hawaiian.
Yeah. Well, pineapple in general goes good with pork.
So she was a writer and a musician.
Yes.
She collected the
Political
published
activist.
works of a Native American culture as well as autobiographical narratives. Um, she wrote libretto of the Sundance Opera, Dreams and Thunder, and poems of Sundance in the Sundance Opera. So she is a very classically trained. Um, she published articles in the Harper's Monthly, an article about the Sioux Indian, the soft-hearted Sioux, the tribal path. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know that all these women's quarters, there's not one woman featured on the women quarters who was in any way involved with coins or the U.S. Mint or anything? I find that odd. Not one mint director. Like,
Well, I think there's only been one woman
why
mint
don't we have a
director.
Glenna Goodacre coin?
Who?
Oh.
A Glenna Goodacre coin.
That was supposed.
Like, I
That
don't
was supposed to be funny,
understand.
Paula. I was being.
Oh, yeah, right. I don't understand. I don't understand things. I don't understand. I really don't. But that's just me.
No, it's me too.
You would think we would have had at least one,
Well, you know how I feel about the way they pick coins and designs out. I mean, like I say,
Well, it's
I have no
goofy.
clue.
It's goofy. If you watch the CCAC meetings, I mean, it's just kind of goofy. It's all about we're back to the DEI now. I probably shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah. So Scott S. The Mint stated that the flowing hair coin standardized our currency. So what do? They celebrate it with a medal.
Well, they tried to put the actual
There is
design
no.
on
They made a gold coin.
They made it. Yeah.
the gold coin hasn't come out yet, but they
November.
did try to get the flowing hair design on the coin that has the tree on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it was too antiquated of a design to be included on the design. Something like that. That's summarizing a long conversation.
I'm looking to see if the Mint is updated. They still haven't updated the flowing hair gold coin yet.
I mean, we've had many medals created to commemorate certain things. Like, we had the military medals. This was just, and I liked it. I like it. I've bought many of the U.S. Mint medals. I like the Exonumia. And I think that I hope that they continue this program, making medals that are in appreciation of some of our classic coin designs. I'd love to see a trime, one with the trime design. I'd love, what I really would like to see them do is a program in homage to some of our pattern coins. I don't know why they didn't take advantage of that before. Like why they didn't do a quarter program that featured some of our patterns. I mean, I don't know. There are so many possibilities that they could do. And what do? They put a bucking bronco on the coin and call it a day. Or a tree.
Yeah, I don't get the tree, but that's
I don't
just
either. If you guys want to see some really, really cool coinage that we have had in the past or potential coinage, go to the PCGS Coin Facts and just gander through our pattern coins that we have made. And I mean, there are just some beautiful things that I would love to see some kind of program for that.
I'm trying to add another camera, and it's not allowing me to. Not allowing me to share that.
The problem with making the problem with I think replicating things like the flowing hair and making them into a coin is that it was a dollar coin, and right now they're doing the Morgan dollar and Peace dollar program. So, I'm sure maybe that had something to do with their decision on that. Um, they didn't want to put out 3 large dollar coins.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, for proof package, it makes
I would
sense.
have liked them. I'd like to have seen them get rid of uh, some of the American president stuff for this particular one. And
Coach's Magic, the instant. So this privy thing kind of bordered a little bit on like gambling, kind of a little bit, I guess. But if they do something like that, I'm out. I will not buy anything else from the US Mint. If they venture into that gambling crap with those mystery packs, I'm done.
I
I
think what you're
am
going to see is them selling graded coins.
possibly they're
I
kind
had
of
heard
doing.
chatter a few years back that NGC was courting them to grade coins and have them sell. You could get MS-70 coins from them.
Yeah, and that doesn't at all incentivize the grading companies into grading more MS-70 coins. Not at all.
Well, the thing about it is it takes the incentive one big like Frosty said earlier. It's like Walmart going and saying, "Hey, we'll just dump these coins and grade them for us." Then the dealers can't send them in to get them graded. I mean, they can, but why would they? Because you can buy a graded one from the mint. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yeah.
so I mean, you have stuff like that. You
Yeah.
could get a MS-70 proof set.
They they are already PCGS and NGC with these vault boxes and these ultra breaks and stuff like that. They're already muddying the water on grading
Mm-hmm.
anyway by putting those things out, because especially with these ultra breaks where you have a chance of getting all of them are graded the same. They're all graded 70s. The only difference is the label. You have a chance of getting this
Sure.
special label. Now, nobody will ever be able to convince me that they didn't just stick these coins in a 70 slab and call it a day. That anybody
Well,
even took a second glance at them, other than just like making sure there wasn't any obvious huge flaws in
all
them or
coins are
whatever.
supposed to get 3 looks.
But Eric, they have an incentive
Oh, no,
to
no.
grade these all
I
70.
actually am acquainted with a couple people
Yeah.
that have graded with the grading companies. And when you hear their story, and I'm not going to get into their story,
Hmm.
uh, you would be in shock with the amount of time they spend on these coins.
Oh, probably like 3 seconds.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. When they do these monster boxes, they're supposed to be doing a monster box about every hour.
Yeah, they
That
just
does
flip
go to 3
them.
people. You've got 2 graders, and then you got a final grader that makes sure it's right. And ultimately, that's probably right, because usually when you look at something, your first impression is usually right. It's very rare that you look at something 2 days later and go, it's better than I expected. If
Yeah.
anything, you look at it and you start doubting yourself and say, oh, it's worse. I think that's just human nature.
so I want to answer something. Thin Dime. So Thin Dime said, Mailman just delivered 2 packages. I ordered one. My daughter had the other one sent to me. The question is to open it or not. That is the question. Totally up to you. But here's what I will say. If you were looking at turning, so you get a privy mark and you're looking at flipping it's better to do it now than wait, because later on you're not going to get the money from it. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like any other metal, and within a year, the values are going to start heading downward.
Oh,
so if you were looking
absolutely.
at selling it and potentially trying to get some money out of it, if you do happen to get one, now remember the odds are not in your favor. But if you do happen to do it, then you're definitely going to want to open it now and get that on the market quick because um, you got to do it while the frenzy's here. Otherwise, it's not gonna sell.
Yeah, got to be with the sharks are in the water, or else they don't eat.
I'll wait for a year and see if the price comes down a couple $100.
So Pedro, so here's the difference is you're going to get one or the other. So it's not really a gamble because you're totally aware when you are purchasing these that you're
A
going to
matter
get
of
one
fact,
or the other. And
purchasing them, you should be of the mind that I'm going to get the normal coin.
you're paying
98%
the
of
same.
them are normal coins.
Exactly. These ultra breaks and stuff. So even they are selling for, and I'm just gonna I'm not gonna give an exact price, but most of those are selling like maybe $50 coins in packs that are selling for like $300. So the worst you can do is like $50. You're paying $300. The worst coin you can get is like a $50 coin, and it goes up from there. But 90% of the coins that are in those packs are the $50 coin.
Yeah, I don't
And you're
like when
paying
the
$300 for these privy marked flowing hair. When they first were announced, there was nothing about the privy mark. They were just all going to be the same. People were going to buy them, whether regardless. Like myself, I just wanted one. So everybody's paying the same price, paying $104, and like I said, I was going to buy one whether there was a privy or not. So you know exactly what you're going to get.
says the MS-70 first strike is going to be rare. People can still turn them in to have first strike inserts put in them now.
Yeah, because first
For
strike
30
means
days from
nothing.
release.
First strike means nothing. Early release means nothing. Not that is just a gimmicky label where the grading companies can charge you $15 to get a special little label,
Yep.
and then the flippers can sell them for extraordinary amounts of money for people
Now the
that don't
Royal
know any
Mint,
better. They think they're getting a special coin when really they're not. They're just getting a label that means nothing.
yeah, the Royal Mint did do where it's actually significant because they numbered what coin it was in the first 250, and I think NGC graded them. Wasn't that right, Frosty? Well, how'd that ever end?
But you can't call it first strike.
Well, on
So
the Royal Mint ones, you can because they actually said these are the first 250 coins off the die
They can
off the
say
first
that,
day.
but there's only one coin that's a first strike.
Right, and
yeah,
they numbered them. Well, they said
Yeah,
that they numbered them from 1 to 250.
right.
yeah. So they actually so this was in partnership with Stacks and Bowers, and they did X number of coins. Now, obviously, the gold coins were 1 in 10, and then the silver coins vary depending upon
Yeah,
the
some of
one
them
that
were
was
1 in
done.
250, some were
Yeah.
1 in 50.
And so what they would do now, here's the kicker with those.
Early strike, I get, but first
So
strike,
they
it's
had
just one
well,
coin.
so it'd be like coin number one off the press, coin number
Yeah.
two off the press, coin
Yeah,
number
they
three off
actually
the press.
numbered each coin off the press.
Now here's the thing. When you look at some of those, there was one of them, and I can't remember which one. It was a gold dollar that was released, and oh hey, I just hit 4444. Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, there was one that was actually kind of like damaged because it had a
Yeah, it
scratch
was like
to it.
MS-64, and
Yeah, and
but it was the
so
first coin.
but it was like it wasn't a 70. It wasn't a perfect coin. So when you're doing that again, if you want to do that, here's my thing. Let's say something happens to that slab and it gets damaged for some reason. How do you know that that was the first coin?
Right. Well, that
So
thing with that one coin being messed up, that is pretty reliable.
Oh no, Scott S. The majority of them are 70s.
Are coming back
You're wrong
70s.
about
I was
that.
just looking what the population was.
Yeah, the majority of them are 70s. So that's not. Don't believe that if you're listening to somebody else telling you that these are going to be conditional rarities, they're incorrect.
So I'm going to say something really fact. I'm not
And
going to name
sometimes
the
the difference
channel.
between 69 and 70 is just somebody had a bad day.
Yeah. I'm not going to name the channel, but I am going to say that there's a channel out there right now, and Paula and I have looked at this and we've seen it. We even showed that they're worried about being first. They're not worried about being correct. And this is
Right.
something you need to be careful with when you're doing this. Do your due diligence.
All right, here, look at this. The population on the metals
Share your screen.
is, all right.
So I want to be very clear because I'm not going to call this channel out. Number one, I'm not going to promote them, but number
It's like
two,
400
I'm
and
going to rate
100
them.
or something like that.
But there's a channel that's out there that has already been talking about the gold release, and in their video shows a gold coin with privy. According to the U.S. Mint right now, they're not going to do a privy on the gold coin. So be careful with some of the information. Be very leery because even people who have a large number of subscribers in our community is not actually factual. So please do your due diligence and follow up. Okay, please.
So you can be relatively certain NGC's got 2,000 to 2,500 graded already.
Yeah. And look at the privy mark. I mean,
Yeah.
50 something to 14.
And it's 80% or MS70.
Yeah.
Actually, 79%.
And like I said, oftentimes the difference between 16, because they are taking very little time when they're looking at these.
Yeah, it could literally be one little white milk mark near the rim or something like that they just happen to see. They might even miss it on a 70. Like I say, I can tell you from bulk submissions, the ones that don't grade and the ones that grade 67, you look at them and you're just like, you don't understand it.
You know what's funny, Eric, is that a lot of people now are breaking out their 2021D Morgan dollars and sending them to CAC grading.
Right, because CAC's grading them 70.
Yep.
Yep, I know.
And CAC grading is tougher than the other ones. So
I've always
they were probably 70s to begin with.
I think CAC grading is grading like ANAX is grading.
Yeah,
I've always said ANAX was the hardest grader.
ANA standards, right?
Yep. I always said they were the hardest grader. And they don't, the thing about ANAX is they don't consider eye appeal, whereas PCGS and NGC have eye appeal in their formula.
Yeah.
It's supposed to just be a semantic with ANAX.
So these are just some general numbers. And again, remember that when we do this, this is not necessarily a heads or tail that these items were there. When I pulled the information off of this, and again, I don't know if Silver Wolverines is still in here, but thanks for Silver Wolverines for sending us the link the other day.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to give credit where credit is due. But in looking at this the other day when I pulled this, I ran the rate of total number being graded against privy marks. The other day, that rate was 4.4% of these were coming back as privy that were graded by PCGS. This is pre-sell. This is prior to them actually being done. Now it's dropped down to 3.3%. So PCGS, based off their population report, still has a higher percentage of privy marks than the general populace would.
And I assure you, these numbers right here are still pre-sale numbers.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that somebody got their coin yesterday and mailed it and have it graded already.
Yeah. So again, when we're looking at the rate, and this is one of those things that I want to talk about. Now I have to put a caveat to this. Okay. This is very, very important, folks. I want you to listen to this very carefully. Just because the rate shows 3.3% doesn't mean that there was anything nefarious going on. Because remember that a lot of these coins, these companies will send them in. Chuck Daughtry does this all the time. If it doesn't grade 66, don't grade it. Send it back to me. So there are these companies that are saying, hey, if it doesn't grade 69 or 70, don't grade it. Send it back, and I'll sell it raw.
Well, they should all grade. I mean, that you get the
Yeah.
occasional rogue one that'll grade lower, but that's had a little damage or something on
But
it,
it
or
has to be
got
stated.
dropped during packaging or
Yeah.
something. But I mean, they're struck special.
Yeah, but it has
Or
to be
maybe
stated
special.
because again, you can't. It's not an absolute. No, again, remember when we look at this, I'd be really interested. Let me check and see if it's there. NGC pop report, and I have this one saved again, courtesies of
That's
Silver
what I
Red
would do,
Writing.
Scott S. I would. So Adam bought one at in Tulsa, I believe, or brought it with him to Tulsa, and took it directly to cap grading, and got a 70 on it. So hey JJ,
Um, they still don't list, from what I'm seeing, they still don't list the list this on the population report.
NGC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't. I checked Well, I mean, unless they did it today, I checked
yeah.
yesterday too.
So just checking again today, they don't have it listed
Mhm.
yet. I'm sure it'll be updated shortly. Hey, freaking awesome! What's going on, brother? Hey, JJ. Hope you're doing well, bud. So yeah, but again, remember that when we'll be able to identify a little bit more. I think NGC is playing it safe, and I think they're going to wait till they get a lot more numbers before they release it to kind of hide the fact that they were pre-grading some of these. I think they're probably going to be playing that pretty smart. Um, I don't know that Annex or CAC grading actually have pop reports.
They
Annex is
do.
not going to get a whole lot of submissions.
Annex has it, but you have to be registered
Yeah,
Annex
and
to
there
use.
just are probably not going to be a whole lot of these graded by Annex.
I know there's a few of them.
There,
We
well,
just
yeah,
saw one, so
but the
yeah.
majority of them are going to be
PCGS,
graded by
CAC, and NGC.
PCGS,
Yep.
NGC, and CAC grading. Yeah.
So, but again, if we look at these numbers as being pre-pop, my opinion is that they probably got a higher percentage of the privy marks. So, and I'll tell you guys, if you think about this, the mint might not have known which ones were privy marks because of the packaging that was done by the outside company, but the company doing the distribution and the packaging sure as hell did. So if somebody had an in, there's no saying that they didn't heavy load these. So I still have some questions in that regard.
I don't trust anything the Mint does
Yeah.
anymore. I really don't.
From that regard, I just have issues.
Yeah,
Yeah,
CAC
Pedro,
doesn't have it updated yet.
grading is yeah.
grading is so subjective. Who you are sending to, the grader's mood. Can we just get a scan
That's
a
right.
coin?
There's so many variables.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot
Well,
of
they're human.
opportunities.
They're human, and it is kind of an art form, and some people are just better at it than others.
Right.
Hey, Paula, can you
And
handle Bello Forge's question? I gotta step away real fast.
if the planchet is damaged before the strike, then the coin metal will have flaws. That's true, but on something like this, I imagine that things are inspected pretty well before they even hit the striking chamber. So on special issues like this, like everything is inspected. So the planchets and most planchet flaws will be erased by the strike anyway.
You might get a minor struck through, maybe.
Yeah, well, he's talking about planchet flaws.
Right. Yeah, the planchet wouldn't even make it into the chamber because I think it's like the San Francisco Mint. They actually one-on-one every planchet goes through somebody's hands before it
for
goes into
specialty issues like this. Yeah. Now on circulation strike coins, Every planchet is flawed. Not every. Let me correct myself, because there is such a thing as a not perfect planchet. It starts with a pristine. There is such a thing as a coin being struck on a pristine planchet, and it actually has a different look to it.
Is that where they get, like, there's some modern coinage now they're saying is like proof-like when it comes out?
No. So those are typically like early strikes.
Okay.
Those are typically like, yeah, those are early strikes. Those are what Chuck calls true, like, early die state.
First early strikes. Yeah, there's a great.
Yeah.
We're still trying to get that. If we can see if we can get that one book republished.
Yeah, a true early die state coins are like very few and far between. Early die state is used incorrectly often.
Yes. Even on copper coins, just because of the programming.
Right.
A lot of times you'll see a coin that is early mid die state is
early mid die state. Correct. Yeah. But there is such a thing as a pristine planchet. And you can actually go look at it on Erroref. And they are few and far between. But most planchet flaws are obliterated by the strike, though.
So the ones that have the really, really, really heavy die lamination, those planchets are pretty much jacked.
Most of those happen. Most laminations happen during or after the strike. Delaminations. They will start during the strike, and then they just start to then they just disintegrate more and more and more. But most lamination peels happen during the strike.
So I've got a question. We got 35 or so people in chat right now. I've got a question for you. This is something that I would love to do. Eric, is Chuck good on laminations? Explaining.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Would you guys be interested if I reach out to Chuck and have Paula and Eric on here, and we kind of talk about? So if you have a planchet that's intact, that has a lamination, or that has an issue with it, why you can see the strike after the lamination falls off. Would you guys be interested in hearing, like, how the pressures of a coin and how that goes through? Like, do you guys understand what?
Simple conversation. It should. I mean, it won't take much time.
Well,
lamination delaminations are a very simple error.
But I'm not talking necessarily about just the lamination delamination. You're
talking about striking through a lamination that's not retained.
Well, so yeah, but there's a lot of caveats to, and just kind of showing various laminations, like, and talking about what would had to have occurred during this time frame. So would it have been something that was had this piece already fallen off prior to the strike, or what would you see in this particular case? Like, really talk through laminations. And granted, it may not be very long, but most of our conversations when it comes to specific topics end up being squirreled anyway. It's true. I mean, we go all over the place, and that's why a lot of people like this stream. But is that something that you guys would be interested in? If it is, put a one in chat. Let me know. If it's not, we can do something else. One thing that I am going to do, based off of a request, is I'm going to be releasing a video. Maybe this week. It's going to be two-part, and it's going to be on the 1892 to 1950 commemorative half-dollar series. A lot of people like that. I've had a couple people ask me about doing that. Chris G is one that is he's asked specifically for that. I've already got everything built. I'm going to be doing a recording of it. But it is going to be a two-part, so you guys should be paying attention and watching out for that. But if you guys are interested
Only
in
a
that, let me know.
two-part, man. That could that could be a year-long series.
Well, I'm just going to be going over them. We're going to be breaking them down later on. But there's something like 54 coins or something like that. And so just doing a general overview of talking about the series, because there are people like Ringmaster Ray. Are you here? Ringmaster Ray collects these, right? And we could have him up and show some of these coins, kind
There's
of
some
talk
that
through some of them.
had multiple years, were struck in multiple years, and
Well,
yeah,
one I want to dig into, and we may even do this tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys after the fact. Hey, Ray's still on. One of the coins I really want to talk about, I think where this is going to be the topic for tomorrow, and that is the Oregon Trail.
ha! Yes, my favorite. That's got two of my favorite designers,
Yeah,
husband and
and
wife,
so there's a lot of issues with the Oregon Trail regarding the mint,
Earl and Laura.
and something that we complain about is it's been talked about here today, which is the mint's constant running of something because they didn't put an end on it. And the Oregon
I
Trail
love.
was there was a reason there was a huge gap in years, and it was because of that coin. I think that's going to be tomorrow's topic. Are you guys up for that?
Sure.
Sure.
Because
We can start that way, anyways.
it's a great yeah, exactly. It's a great coin. It really is a beautiful design. Um, it's very well done, but there's more than one. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so a lot of people don't recognize the fact because they see the Oregon Trail and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," but they don't realize that there's three different mint marks and 5 years. I think it's 5 different
Q.
years.
David Bowers has a commemorative coins of the United States, a complete encyclopedia. I've got it right here in my hot little hands. It's a huge book.
Outstanding. Yeah, so there's a lot to do, but I'm gonna be putting that together. Again, as you guys find information or find things in that little video, you find coins that you want to talk about. We'll talk about those specific items either in the live streams or we'll do some more videos about them. But it's something that was requested. And again, you guys, if there's something that you guys want, there's a topic that you guys are really interested about, email me. I like answering your guys' questions with in-depth videos because it helps me feel connected to what it is that you guys want to see. I can do videos and I can come up with ideas all day long, but I don't know that they're necessarily things that you're going to want to see. So please, if there's something that you want to see or interested in, because I'll tell you right now, I could talk about the 7 coins in the series that are the ship coins for the next month and be fine with it. But that's not everybody else's cup of tea. Not everybody likes ships on coins like I do. So if you have something you want to talk about or have something you want us to talk about or something you want to identify, please reach out and let us know because that'll be fun. But that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about the Oregon Trail. I'll build the thumbnail and
Ronald Stewart. Topics for tomorrow: 1, Oregon Trail to immigration. 3, DEI. 4, cancellation.
Yeah. Demonetization. Yeah, 4, demonetization for 6 months.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. It'd be neat to have
it.
a live open panel and open discussion. I definitely can put one of those together. If you guys want to do it, we'll figure out a topic, something that a lot of
That's
people
kind
would
of
like
what
to come up with.
Sunday's usually about, is ask us whatever you want.
Well, I think he's talking about having just a bunch of people on panel and just have a conversation.
Oh gosh.
We would have to have some very specific guidelines, especially about talking over, taking turns. I don't mind moderating a conversation like that. It'd be fine, but there would be some guidelines and some tenets about what would.
Are we going to be fact checking too? Turn the mics off and fact check.
Well, again, we would have to. There'd have to be a lot of conjecture in that regard. So we could definitely do it, but it'd have to be something loose.
You want to see a cool coin that I found?
No.
Yes,
Of
especially.
course I do. I bought a really cool one. I bought a 1942 Walking Liberty with a counter stamp that's also a DDO. Ah,
And that's coming
cool.
to me when?
it's a new cherry
It's in the
pickers
basement,
variety.
Frosty.
Oh, here,
It's
ready?
a brand new cherry pickers variety on a counter
Ooh.
stamped coin. Oh, that's a privateer, right?
Yeah, looky.
I have multiples of that series.
That's the missing one. That's why they're still walking underwater, huh?
Yeah. So this was sent to
Davy
me by
Jones
Volta
Locker.
Pedro.
I
So-
have multiples of that series. I love
Pedro,
that
you're a stud. I
series.
love this piece, dude. This is
The
freaking
2-ounces.
fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Love those.
very, very cool. All right. Here it. Padow. Ooh.
Kapow! Kapow!
Thickness. Look at the thickness.
That looks like a 2004.
It's a 2009.
2009. Oh, does it have a DDR too?
It does not. This is bigger than that one. This is DDO number 8, 1DO number 9.
That T and that Y.
Look, you
Kermit,
can even
Robert,
see right
Kermit.
here on the
Chubby.
E and on the B, you can see it's like diagonal.
Elvis Morris.
Yeah. Chubby.
Then you go over to the
Nice, Eric or Robert. Nice.
2. Let's see if there's another. I found a bunch. I went through 4 rolls and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different varieties. Let's see. I think this one's pretty cool. This one is cool for sure. Found this in it too.
My giveaways are to subs and in my stream. Don't let YouTube hear you say that, Invisible River Ranch.
There, you see that one?
Oh, I got to tell you guys something real fast.
There's
Hold-
the thumb.
No,
Okay.
little, yep.
There's the
Little
extra
nubbin.
fingers, and there's the extra fingers, and then there's another extra finger under there.
Who does that one go to?
Are you sure that's a finger?
Their finger. Well, right?
I'm
Right?
sorry.
And then there's even a better one than this one.
Oh, hey,
Copper
Paula.
coins. I know that guy.
So
Exact.
nailing down the exact date might be nearly impossible.
Exact dice date. Dice date. Dice date.
That was definitely a talk to text moment.
The dice date.
Oh yeah, here's a good one right here.
Yeah, but you can come pretty close, Chuck.
So who did this one go
Same
to?
one? No, that's the same one.
He's like, damn it. Autocorrect. I hate it.
Hey, Chuck, what are you doing tomorrow morning?
I've seen you do it, Chuck. If anybody can do it, you can.
Hey, Paula, what's green and sings?
Oh Lord.
I don't know.
Elvis Parsley.
Elvis Parsley. Ugh, puke.
That was Robert Bruce's joke.
That was uncalled for.
Did you hear my joke about the 2 blondes, Paula?
His smartphone's a stupid phone. No, go ahead. Lay it on me because I'm not really blonde anyway. I'm bottle blonde.
There are 2 blondes, one standing on one side of the river, the other one standing on the other side of the river. And one yells to the other, "Hey, how'd you get to the other side of the river?" And the other one's like, "Don't be stupid. You're already there."
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that joke. It's funny.
That actually is very smart.
What did I do with it? Can't find the other one I was looking for.
Actually correct.
Chuck, do you have anything going on tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning, probably nothing, but I'm not very good at being awake in the mornings. That's all right. Neither are we.
Well, I'll send you a link if you want to come
I'm
up and
actually
chat.
very, very, very good at being awake in the morning.
Are you?
I am too.
Yeah, I've been up since it's almost nap. Matter of fact, it's nap time right now.
It's nap time.
Yep, I've been up for 7 hours.
I got another hour to go before nap time.
So,
10
Chuck,
o'clock.
we're going to be talking the Oregon Trail commemorative coin tomorrow. If it's something you're interested in joining us for a conversation on, I'll send you a link and you can join us.
Chuck, don't let him fool you. It won't be just about the Oregon Trail. You know that.
But you know it'll just be starting about that.
But I will tell you that the Oregon Trail has many, many, many counterfeits. It's a very counterfeited coin. Oh, I hate it when freaking awesome does that. Use your phone.
And he puts it upside down and backwards. Oh, I think it's funny.
Coolest idea ever, but I just use this old handheld walkie-talkie. I miss my flip phone.
Joe Fennerty just subscribed. Thanks, Joe.
Yes, Chuck. It is the one with the covered wagon.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah, so if you want to join us tomorrow morning, I'll put out the information. I'll send you the link to the new one, and you can join us. Tommy Guns Trading Cards. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Hope you're doing well.
You can clicky the linky. Clicky the linky.
Oh, please don't do that. I have PTSD from that damn thing.
We didn't do it last year.
I know, but I still have PTSD from that.
I know.
It was played 2,000 times or something like that.
I had to wear the unicorn costume in Tulsa.
I know, and you're on my thumbnail.
I know. Reading that quickly helps keep dementia away. Does it? Oh. Well.
Hey, Chuck. I love this piece, dude. You see this?
Did you get that from him? Oh, he signed it. Look at that. Freedom.
Such a cool piece. I keep it on my desk because I love this piece. Very beautiful design, man. You did a great job with it. Is
that illegal or an illegal? Never mind.
Be nice, Paula.
Never mind.
Be good, Paula. Resist the urge.
I just don't like unfinished business. That's all.
You want to see what else I got?
I'm gonna be triggered all day today because of that. I hope you know.
You want to see what else I got?
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty.
That's a pretty one.
That is pretty.
It's the only way I like barbers. Otherwise, they're a horrible design. But.
Well, they're just very flat. And so they wore out fast. That's okay. Look, Chuck, right here, I've got my Commemorative Coins of the United States, A Complete Encyclopedia by Q. David Bowers. I'm sure you own that book somewhere. Dig it out. I'm gonna read up a little bit on mine. I don't know a whole ton of. I studied about it a little while ago just because I'm from Oregon, but I don't remember a lot.
Yeah, but let me tell you a little bit about the premise of what Chuck just said there. He may know a lot about 19th century coins from India. So take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, because that man knows a lot about a whole lot of stuff.
I know a little bit about a lot of stuff.
I know that I played some little video game or something when my kids were in school.
Yeah. I just know a little bit about a lot of stuff because I'm forced to learn it. That's all. Repetition.
Isn't that how we all work?
That's true.
Like
repetition. It forces stuff to stick in my brain. I've got stuff stuck in my brain that I really would like to get out of there and make room for other stuff because I can't remember anybody's birthday.
Kevin says, I'm going to message you after the show, Paula, so you can have closure.
I will not have closure, Kevin, and if you message me, I'm going to just delete it. because I'm not going there's 0.000% chance that I'm going to agree with you. Because something can't be illegal before it's legal.
Tommy Guns is heading out to hit the yard sales Have a good one, man. Keep an eye out for some coins. There's always
If you're
some
in
good things
Florida,
to
don't do a
find.
yard sale for at least 6 more months.
Say again?
It says if you're in Florida doing yard sales, don't do it for 6 more months.
Why is that?
People trying to
That's right, Ray.
get rid of their garbage.
Oh, yeah, true. All right, folks. Well, it is almost 11 o'clock my time. We have
Okay.
for a long time today, which has been fun. It's been a fun conversation.
I'm triggered, but I'll be all right.
Have another cup of coffee.
Okay. It's okay because no matter, we could have gone on for 10 hours and I still don't think I would have ever been convinced the other way. So it's okay. Anyway, love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, folks.
Bye.
Take care. Appreciate you guys.
Bye.
All right, folks. As always, thank you guys for coming in and joining the conversation today. I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with me. Again, it's one of those things. I have no idea what that meant. But anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. And again, remember that when something is put in the chat and I point it out, it's not because I am against what you have to say or I'm utilizing you as a source of reference. I'm basically utilizing that to continue a topic or continuation of a piece of discussion. So please remember that I'm not calling you out on that. It's just important for people to be able to speak freely and voice their opinion. Today was a interesting conversation. And again, so remember that because the people that are on panel or the people who are in chat who are having these conversations, we don't always have to agree, but we can agree to disagree. And we can remain friends despite our disagreements. That's what makes us human, and that's what makes us good, positive people. Love you all. I want you to have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about the Oregon Trail commemorative coin. So please be here. All right, you'll be seeing that video link drop tomorrow or later today. Be looking for the Oregon image and then Paula in the unicorn suit. All right, folks. Be well, be blessed. I love you all. We'll take care of you, and I will see you in the streams.